Hey guys, James here, and today I wanted to talk to you about something that I just learned recently from an amazing book called To Sell is Human, and I thought I want to share it with you today. And it's called the Pixar pitch. And essentially what this is a very effective way to create a story when you're trying to sell somebody or persuade somebody on an idea, on a product, on a service, or just to be persuasive. So if you're trying to maybe make a presentation to your boss or to your colleagues, maybe you're trying to convince your significant other to go to this restaurant or that other restaurant, there's all these different types of pitches, but this is a really cool one, I thought, for breaking down a story and helping you put it together in a very compelling and persuasive way. And the reason it's called a Pixar pitch is simply because it came about from the well-known company Pixar. And if you ever look into how every single one of their stories is structured, it's done in this exact same way. And the 6 parts of it is once upon a time, blank, every day, blank, one day, blank, because of that, blank, because of that, blank, until finally, blank. So if you take any story, any type of product or idea or any type of pitch that you're trying to create and you use this framework, you'll have massive success at being able to persuade somebody to go with your idea. So the example that they use a lot is the Finding Nemo example. And so in Finding Nemo, the story is that once upon a time there was a widowed clownfish who lived in the coral reef, and every day he would tell his young son Nemo not to swim outside into the open ocean and to stay in the coral reef where it was safe. But one day Nemo, being the defiant kid that he is, decides to swim out into the open ocean. And because of that, a diver finds Nemo and captures him and takes him to the aquarium at the dentist office in Sydney, if you remember. And so because of this, Marlin has to now go on this crazy adventure through the Great Barrier Reef and all the way to Sydney to find his son. Until finally he meets with, he finally saves his son, and they're able to return back to the coral reef and live happily ever after. And so that's very useful for if you're trying to create a movie or create a story. It's very easy to do that. But I also wanted to help out by if you're trying to create a pitch and you're trying to maybe make a presentation. So this is another way you can do it. And so this is one that I wanted to share with you is, I knew a guy who was very focused on his career. And he was, had high aspirations to rise up through the ranks. So he worked extra hours, he took on extra projects, he networked as much as he could. And every day he was working, but he was letting his health go on the wayside. And one day he actually gets really sick because he hadn't been taking care of his health, he hadn't been eating properly, and he was putting in extra hours, not sleeping well enough. So one day he's sick, and he walks up and looks himself in the mirror, and he just says, "Wow, you are such a wreck. You look awful, you're overweight, you're tired, you have bags in your eyes," and he felt awful. And so he decided that he needed to make some drastic changes so that he can be healthy if he actually wanted to achieve his professional goals. And so what he does is he starts looking for other options to help start cooking healthy meals at home. So he looks at a variety of different meal kits and decides to pick one. And he begins using these meal kits to start cooking healthy meals for himself. And not only does he start getting healthy because he's eating more vegetables, cooking foods that are lower in fat and lower in sodium, but he also finds a little bit more work-life balance because now cooking at home has become one of his favorite things at the end of the day. And so because of this, he ends up having a much more happier life, and he ends up actually achieving a lot of his goals professionally while still maintaining his health. So as you can see, hopefully you were able to follow along with the framework, and obviously I was pitching you on this idea of a meal kit plan. By the way, that guy was me, and I certainly love using these meal kit plans, but you could certainly apply that same framework to any other idea that you're trying to pitch across to a potential client or any of your colleagues or boss, or even in a more informal manner. So I hope that's helped. Please, if you found this useful, let me know in the comments. Let me know if there was something that was unclear. If you have any other stories that you'd like to try and put into this framework and you're struggling with it, send it to me. I'd love to help you out and see how I can help make this something that's useful for you, because if you're gonna get up on stage, or if you're gonna get in front of a group or a crowd or your boss and you have to engage them, this is really gonna help. But there's also a whole lot of other tips that I'd love to share with you, and obviously I would wanna see you succeed. So please comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think, and I'll hopefully see you guys for the next video. Thanks a lot.